Yeah, I think being obedient and patient, something that we could definitely use, especially when you're working in retail. So.
And just listening to others and just really being diligent and focusing on what you have to do and not trying not to get distracted, and doing your work honestly too.
Yeah, I don't have a job. My mom said for me, my job would be doing SAT prep because then I could get money for scholarships and stuff, so that'll help save our family money. And so I guess for me it would be really working hard with the tutor and really focusing and giving my all and really trying to get that good score and save us some money.
Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet with your job. There'll be times where if you deal with customers, you'll get a few of them that really frustrate you, that really sometimes drive you crazy, and you just have to be able to bite the bullet and say, all right, let's get through this, let's have some patience, and let's get done with this person to move on with it.
I agree with Phil completely, especially in retail. I mean, there are some people, but the truth is you really don't know what they went through that day or what they've been going through. So, I mean, for you to just, oh, you're getting mad at me, it's not fair. Well, I mean, you don't know what they went through earlier that day, and maybe it doesn't give them an excuse to be rude to you, but it certainly does not give you an excuse to kind of bite back at them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you never know, what your smile or what, if you're being kind to them, what that could do.
That's so true. That's so true, too.
You could really change somebody's day around with just being nice to them, so.
Well, all jobs come with responsibility.
We need to accomplish certain tasks and do them to the best of our ability.
We are expected to give our undivided attention to the customer or to the task at hand.
But it is so easy to get distracted by other things when we're working.
Phone calls and text messages, even visits from friends, can interrupt us if we let them.
Some days we may just be tired or bored with the task we're assigned.
No matter what excuse presents itself, we still have an obligation to stay focused and to give our best effort.
Next, Christina talks to us about our responsibilities as employees.
And how irresponsibility of one coworker burdened her staff with added time and stress.
To be responsible, you have to be on time. That's probably the key. The other thing is to do your job, do it well, and do it right. And don't slack off. They're paying you to do your job, so you want to do your job the way that they want you to do it. Don't be making things up and doing your own thing the whole time. There's not a lot of bad employees in the restaurant where I work. Everyone's really cool. The only thing I have to say is with side work, sometimes people don't do it because they're not able to, they're busy. Sometimes people don't do their side work because they don't want to. That makes more work for everyone else to do. One incident that I can remember where someone slacked off and it affected me was when I had a table and it was really late at night and a lot of the other servers were leaving. So they wanted to get out and everyone was going to see a movie. So one of the girls was supposed to be responsible for restacking the coffee cups and the saucers and refilling coffee pots. She didn't do that, and I had a table that wanted 8 regular coffees. I had to run around the kitchen and put it all together. It took me a lot of time and effort when if she had done her job, it wouldn't have taken me more than 4 or 5 minutes. As far as I know, there were no immediate repercussions. The managers, they were a little bit upset, obviously, because it's her responsibility to take care of that, and she had told them that she had taken care of it before she left. She's typically a good employee, so they gave her a warning. She wasn't fired, but I know for the next couple weeks they did keep a closer eye on her to make sure that she was doing all the things that she said she did. One thing that happened recently, someone was found stealing from the restaurant. That's definitely bad, and then he was immediately fired. And we all miss the employee, but he was in the wrong. Some good situations are when everyone gets together and helps each other out. On holidays, we're incredibly busy, and it's almost impossible for one person to function on their own when we're as busy as we are. So everyone kind of comes together and we all help each other out. You get a real sense of camaraderie and friendship.
I guess it's kind of corny because every corporation says it, but the fact is we're all a team when you're at work, and the work needs to get done regardless of who does it. And as we learned from Christina's story, if you don't do your part at work, somebody else usually has to pick up the slack.
Thomas Merton wrote, "A Christian cannot separate his life of faith from the real world of work and struggle in which he lives."
Work must be an integrated part of Christian life.
To be a good employee, we need to be respectful to our employer, coworkers, and customers.
We should acknowledge our mistakes and work hard to fix them.
We are called to be honest in all situations.
When we don't work as hard as we can, we are cheating our employer.
coming in late, leaving earlier, mismanaging our time are forms of stealing.
But employers have a responsibility to their workers as well.
Respecting their human dignity, paying fair wages, and providing safe working conditions.
Next, Christina talks about the types of workplaces she would not want to work.
And how her current job requires giving up some of her free time on the weekends.
The places that I wouldn't work would be places where I felt like I was being taken advantage of or treated badly. Places where I wasn't having fun. Because for me, I'm still in high school and I don't actually need the job to survive, pay for rent and car insurance and everything. It's kind of hard to keep track of all the things I have to do, especially during the school year when I have my classes, homework, extracurriculars, and my job. Luckily, the restaurant business, your schedule is fairly flexible. So that helped a lot, but at the same time, there were some days where I would go to school, I'd have an extracurricular, and then right from the extracurricular, I would have to go to work. So it would be a very long day, I'd be very tired, and it was hard to do my homework when I got home that night. But it's a responsibility and I chose to be at work, so you'd have to stay up and do the homework anyway. For me, the best part of having a job is the people that I get to hang out with. I work with college students, people who are just out of college. They're really fun to hang out with. They were really supportive of me through high school, because I was the youngest person there. It's almost like a family at the restaurant. It's my family away from the family. And I just love being there and spending time with them. The worst part of my job would probably be the hours. On a night where I have to close the restaurant, I might work from 5 to 11:30. I work pretty hard, so it's 6.5 hours of hard work with not a lot of breaks. When I get home that night, I'll just go right to bed. I'll fall asleep in a snap. One sacrifice would definitely be the time I have to spend. I work Saturday nights, so I don't get to go out with my friends as much as I would like to, but I do have friends at work, so it's not so bad. Sometimes you don't have time to eat like a real meal. You just have like soups and French fries and stuff in the back. So the biggest sacrifice would be the actual meal and the time.
Having a job means making sacrifices to keep our commitments.
We may have to miss a party or another event that we'd like to attend for the sake of keeping our commitment to our job.
What about you guys? What types of sacrifices have you had to make when it comes to working?
I know a big sacrifice that I have to make when I work is spending family time, like playing a board game or just hanging out with my brother and sister. Because when they're like, oh, you want to hang out? I'm like, oh, I have to go to work. So it's hard, but sometimes you got to sacrifice those things.
Yeah, a few times throughout the year, I've had to work on holidays, so everyone will be at a party or something, and then I'll be standing at work and I'll get there late and I'll be exhausted and everyone's having a good time and I'm sitting in the corner drinking a cup of coffee trying to keep my eyes open. And it's tough, but it's when I get the paycheck it all becomes worth it, because it's I could help my family with this.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to work during the school year because I have so many extracurricular activities. So my mom says that as long as I get good grades, that's the way of me working. But I sacrifice the time that I have with my family during the school year so I could do my extracurricular activities.
I can tell you guys how many times I've had to put off homework because I've been working. And I'm the kind of person who wants everything done on time, everything needs to be done the night it's given, and I guess, it just throw off my balance, but you gotta just get used to it. There's no way around it when you have a job.
Yeah, I can think of one occasion where my family was going to the shore and I decided to stay behind because I had to fulfill my commitment to work.
And when I'm working with my uncle, it's actually, I stay there maybe a week or two at a time because he lives so far away. And he says when I'm there, I don't have to like it, but he's my boss. So I actually don't spend much time with him as a friend anymore because I'm there all the time. We don't have to really go anywhere. So we'll be in the middle of watching a ball game, and then he'll just be like, actually, I think it's time to work now. So.
I mean, even though these sacrifices can be hard sometimes, the Catholic Church teaches that work is essentially a good thing.
It's a fundamental dimension of man's existence on earth.
The Catechism states that in work, the person exercises and fulfills in part the potential inscribed in his nature.
The value of labor stems from man himself, its author and beneficiary. Work is for man, not man for work.
We must consider this when balancing work along with our other obligations and activities.
Next, let's go back to the teens on the street and see how they fare with balancing jobs with their already busy schedules.
Let's check it out.
It's not hard.
It's very simple. You gotta balance everything out like a schedule. You gotta set dates, times, activities.
I'm a 3-sport athlete and I get straight A's. And I have a bunch of great friends who I always hang out with. So as long as you have your priorities right, you should be fine with whatever you want.
Depends on the person. I mean, if someone can multitask, I don't think it's a huge problem.
For me, it's all about learning how to balance it. If you do sports, if you really have a lot of schoolwork, so you have to fit in a good time period for yourself.
I don't have that many activities to balance.
Yes, it is. It is, especially if you're a full-time student, and you know, especially because of the economy, it's especially hard.
You shouldn't really work until you're out of school, because I think it's easier with your academics and stuff.
I don't think it's that hard to balance, school and a job. A lot of times you're going to need to know how to do that for college and stuff.
I go to school full-time, and I also play soccer for my college, and I work at the same time, so whenever I need days off for different games or whatever, sometimes my bosses have a problem with it.